Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Flame, and today we will be playing Resident Evil 7 with a somewhat unique challenge run. Today we will be trying to answer the question, can you beat Resident Evil 7 with just the pistol? First and foremost, this isn't just a pistol only run, this is also a kill everything run. So if I see an enemy, I must kill it. Well, that also leads to an ammo shortage. Obviously, I'm not going to have enough ammo for one gun to kill everything including bosses. So as a backup, if I don't have any ammo or a pistol at that point in the game, I need to use a melee weapon. This weapon is typically the knife, but as you'll see shortly, that's not always the case. As for difficulty, I went with easy because I felt like if I went normal, I would have spent too much time playing knife only rather than pistol only since I wouldn't have enough ammo. And with all of that out of the way, let the challenge begin. As any Resident Evil 7 campaign starts, we get a weird email from our estranged wife who's been missing for 3 years, and immediately decide to go looking for her, because that's not a death sentence at all. Also, side note, I am a little bit sick, so sorry about my voice in this video, I hope you like it. Bada bing, bada boom, we get there, watch someone phase out of existence in front of us, and still decide to go into this old abandoned house in search of our wife. After watching a not so eerie video of people literally dying, we find a way to the basement and find our wife locked up in a cell. While trying to escape, an unseen force grabs Mia and takes her away, leaving us alone again. This time, not for long, because shortly after, Mia comes up from the basement stairs, trying to kill us. We manage to fight her off, but not before she stabs a knife through our left hand. She then proceeds to beat her head into the wall, knocking herself out, before getting back up and trying to kill us again. This time though, she decides to yeet us into the next room over, giving us access to our first weapon, the axe. While we don't have access to the axe for long, we don't have a pistol right now, so we're gonna have to use it to fight off Mia. Also, not to toot my own horn, but I finish her off pretty quickly. After showing Mia that I still love her, the phone rings and a mysterious voice tells me I can escape through the attic. Walking back, I realize that Mia is gone and I pick up the axe again. After solving a quick puzzle, I make my way back up to the attic, where I'm ambushed by Mia again. This time, instead of outright attacking me or throwing me into the next room, she pushes me to the ground and shoves a screwdriver into my hand, pinning me in place while she goes and gets a chainsaw. After getting back, she makes quick work of my left arm by cutting it off, throws me to the ground, then runs away while laughing maniacally. After regaining my bearings, I make my way up to the attic and find a pistol with a bunch of ammo. This is where we fight Mia for the final time. The fight goes smoothly, and we defeat her. Before long, Jack appears behind us, knocking us out and dragging us into the main house. We wake up at a dining table tied to a chair and surrounded by the Baker family. After unbinding ourselves, we're forced to sneak around Jack to find a hatch key to help us progress. After using the hatch to get to another part of the house, the phone rings again, where Zoe, the mysterious voice from earlier, instructs us the best way to get out of the house is through the front door. Thank you, Zoe. You're just stating the obvious. After finding a door with a unique lock on it, an officer beats on one of the windows and instructs us to head over. We try explaining to him we're trapped in a house with psychopathic murderers, but he doesn't listen to us. We then ask him for his gun, but instead he gives us a knife, which I guess is better than nothing. We agree to meet up in the garage, but by the time I get there, Jack's already there and decapitates the officer. While he's busy beating the body with a shovel, I quickly grab the gun and prepare for a fight. I decided to save some ammo and got in the car to try and fight him that way. That tactic works to some extent, until Jack pulls the top off the car and drives us into a wall, impaling himself. But just like Mia, the bastard gets out of the car even after it's on fire, and still pursues me, until it blows up, knocking him out. The explosion also knocks down a ladder, which is my escape route out, and while climbing it, Jack decides to grab me again, where he shows me a cool magic trick which involves the disappearance of half his head. After finding the key to the weird locked door, we make our way into the main room of the house. Zoe calls once again to inform us we need to find a way out of the house. You would think Zoe knows the way out of her own home, but I digress. The front door has another mechanism on it that needs 3 dog heads in order to open. That is our key out of this house. Now we have to explore the entire house, finding all 3 dog heads in order to be able to leave. While looking around, I be sure to pick up any supplies, ammo, or antique coins along the way. I'll explain what the coins are for later on. I managed to find the first dog head in a book and the second one after getting a piece from one clock and slapping it into another. The last dog head won't be as simple as the first 2, but we press on. After searching through the first and second floor, I find an item submerged in a bathtub full of only what I can assume is the fucking abyss when Jack shows up again asking if we liked his talent show. It's at this point, once we get away from him, he'll start to patrol around the house like a guard dog, immediately attacking whenever he sees us. Using the item graciously given to me by the void itself, I'm able to solve a shadow puzzle that gives me access to another section of the house and the basement. In this part of the house, we come across our first enemy. While it's not too hard to take down, it still consumes 3 of my bullets. Now would be a good time to explain how damage towards enemies works. When you shoot an enemy, you'll deal damage, obviously, but you also have a chance to stagger said enemy. If you do stagger that enemy, they become invulnerable to damage. If you then shoot them while they're in that state, you'll just be wasting bullets. So you have to time your attacks correctly in order to not waste any ammo. This also applies to bosses. One awesome thing about this game is that it enables you to craft your own ammo. So if we're running low on pistol ammo and we have the supplies to do so, we can make some. Remembering this, I added an additional rule, and that being, as long as I have ammo for my gun, I cannot use my knife on any enemy whatsoever. Later on, I do make an exception for this, but more on that later. Heading down into the basement, and I realized that there is way more enemies down here than I previously thought. This isn't a problem initially, but with every enemy taking 3 to 4 shots to take down, it becomes apparent quickly that I am flying through my ammo supply. After making my way through the basement, I find myself in the dissection room, where the final dog head is located. From past playthroughs, I know this is another boss fight, so I quickly go and gear up and prepare for the worst. At this point, I have a total of 47 regular ammo and 10 advanced ammo that does more damage. Now for the boss fight. And I would be lying if I told you I was fully prepared for this fight. To put it into perspective, when Jack enters his second phase, he grabs a chainsaw scissor-like tool, and as he's grabbing it, you're meant to also grab a chainsaw and fight him with it. But we can't exactly do that, so we need to use the pistol. The only issue with that is I don't have enough ammo to kill him. If I'm lucky, I can get him to his 3rd phase, which leaves an entire phase for me to finish him off with my knife. I'm sure I would have had enough ammo if it wasn't for the kill everything aspect of this run, but regardless, I now have to go toe to toe with Jack with a measly pocket knife. Although it's not easy and it does take me a while, I do manage to develop a strategy for this fight. There's hanging bodies around the arena that you can kick into Jack in order to stun him. While in that stun, I found that you could attack him 3 to 4 times before he would be able to attack again. This attack would have a chance that I could just duck under it, but there was a good chance I wouldn't be able to dodge it. If I didn't dodge the attack, then I would be taking full damage. And with how long this fight goes on, that's not an option. This led to a slash and dash tactic I had to develop in order to slowly whittle down his health until he died. And with that, Jack explodes into a pile of goo and he's dealt with. For now. Now, let's escape this house. After leaving the house, we search around outside for some supplies before entering the travel trailer. This is where the antique coins come into play. Inside this trailer, there were 3 different bird cages that act as sort of vending machines for these coins. And one of these bird cages has the Magnum in it, which is the best pistol in the game by far. If I'm able to unlock the Magnum with the coins and get enough ammo throughout the game, I may not have to worry about the final boss. Also in the travel trailer, there is a broken pistol which you can pick up and repair with a repair kit. Apart from having a little bit higher damage, it has a much higher chance of getting headshots, so I decide to use that from now on. Zoe calls us again and mentions that we need to find the ingredients for a quote-unquote serum in order to cure her and Mia from whatever has infected them. They can't leave the property without it, and the best place to start looking for these ingredients is the old house. Overall, a lot can't be said about the old house. some supplies here, a broken burner there, and overall no enemies we need to kill. That is apart from bugs. In this house there are both bees and spiders we need to deal with. This is where the aforementioned exception comes into play. I decided the best course of action was to use the knife and burner on any bugs we came across, then use the pistol whenever necessary. This ended up saving me a lot of ammo. After a couple more puzzles, we're finally able to make our way up to the second floor. But right as we get to the door, Marguerite decides to pull off her own magic trick by coming out of thin air and pushes us down the stairs, breaking a hole into the floor in which we fall into. With this part, all you need to do is shoot at her from down in the hole, while she summons bugs to go down and attack you. The shooting isn't the hard part, it's the trying to kill the bugs with the burner without also burning her as well. Things go alright, and before long she falls into the hole with us, turning into red goo, and we're able to escape. After making our way out of the hole and into the second floor of the house, we find out how to make the serum and Zoe calls us back again. We tell her our findings and she says that while she has one of the ingredients, the other must be in the house with us. After giving some poor bastard the worst motion sickness of his existence, we find that the door leading to the rest of the second floor is blocked by yet another mechanism. The door can only be opened with a lantern, which is in the hands of Marguerite. We go back to the hole where her and her red goop are, to find that it's dried up and a long string bean arm reach through a hole and grab the lantern. After climbing back down into the hole, we see Marguerite has now turned into a four-legged spider, crawling through a freshly made tunnel back outside, taking the lantern with her. Now it's time for Marguerite's boss fight. The first thing I do is go around collecting any ammo and supplies I can find while also opening up all routes throughout the arena to help myself. The first half of this fight goes really nicely. I do have trouble finding which part of her body is her weak spot. Logic says the head, but there is another very large protrusion between her legs that's also screaming weak point. I mainly just went with the head, but there were a few shots that went into a cooch. Anyways, just like the Jack boss fight, I do end up running out of ammo. Unlike the Jack boss fight, however, Marguerite is far more terrifying to try to knife only. I employed the slash and dash strategy again, but instead of slash dash, it's slash I need to get the fuck out of here. When it starts to look grim, she just kinda decides to not. I thought that I had staggered her into her phase of running along the walls, but instead she just kinda croaked. Fine with me, I guess, but it is a little bit underwhelming. After getting the lantern off her dead body, we quickly head back to the old house and gain access to the rest of the second floor. We make our way through some dark rooms and corridors before finding a secret room behind a bed where we find the first ingredient to the serum. Making our way back out, there's now enemies that we need to kill. But after the first one, I run out of ammo. Yeah, it's nothing my knife can't deal with. What? Oh god, it's a big one. These guys hit harder and have more health, but... oh. Guess my knife is pretty sharp. Anyways, we get another call from Zoe, and after she learns that we have the first ingredient, she agrees to meet up in the trailer so that we can make the serum and get out of here. Once we get there, the phone rings again, but this time, instead of it being Zoe, it's her brother Lucas, stating that he has Mia and Zoe held captive, and that he wants us to play a little game in order to free them. In order to start this game, we must enter the main house again in order to retrieve 2 key cards to enter the boathouse where the game will be held. Heading back down to the basement, we find the police officer's body from earlier beheaded on a table with a key stuck inside of him. We need to retrieve this key in order to access parts of the house where the key cards lie. After leaving this room, I'm presented with a bit of a hurdle. To the right, there is 1 molded, and to the left, there is 2 molded crawling up the staircase. That's not too many enemies, but mind you, I'm still out of ammo and have to fight these guys all at once with a knife. I end up dying to them once, but on the second try, I end up getting past them. For the first key card, I am presented with a clock puzzle, which is as simple as setting a clock to the time as the other clocks, which is 10:15. After doing that, the bed moves aside, revealing a hidden passage back down to the basement, and after taking it, I find the key card resting on a table. Once I leave that room, I'm confronted with a few enemies. They're not too hard to take down, thankfully, because I found some ammo alongside the keycard. With the second keycard, all I need to complete is a simple shadow puzzle. Now since I have both of them, I can make my way to the boathouse and begin the game. After we get in, we're presented with a TV where Lucas basically tells us if we want Mia and Zoe back, we're gonna have to play by the rules. A door is revealed behind the TV, and then we have to go through a couple rooms with a bunch of traps that we can just shoot. We then come up to a door with a keypad that requires a password in order to open. Lucas tries tricking us to type in the wrong password, which then sends down a trap that reveals the next section we need to go through. In this next part, there's a few isolated bombs, but we have to fight through a bunch of enemies along the way. One room is absolutely littered with them, and I ended up having a pretty goofy moment in it. I didn't die, but I might as well have. After a bit more walking, we come across another boss arena where we have to fight our first bloated molded. I knew the fight was coming up, so I made some better ammo along the way to have along with my normal ammo. With some careful movement, I'm able to take it down without any issues. After taking the elevator that thing comes down in, we find a room with a corpse that has a note on it saying what the password is. We then have to empty our inventory into the crate next to the room in order to put in the password and get in. After getting in, Lucas runs up and locks the door behind us, trapping us inside. Now this section is a large escape room. The only thing that's bad is that unless you've already played through it, you won't know how to complete it. There's a tape you can watch earlier in the game that explains how to, but basically all you need to do is complete the steps out of order. You just walk up to the store, put in the code LOSER, and then play out the rest of the room without interacting with anything else. This way, when the cake blows up, there's no oil on the floor that will burn you alive. After completing it, Lucas gets upset and drops a lit dynamite into the room with you, but all you need to do to deal with it is to peel off a panel on the wall and shove it into the hole and wait for the explosion. This then reveals a secret passage which you can use to escape. Once you do get out, you'll arrive in a camera room where Lucas was watching you, but he won't be there. Instead, you'll find the second ingredient to the serum. Lucas will then appear on the monitor, stating that Mia and Zoe are locked up in another part of the boathouse. Heading outside, you have to traverse through a pier-like area, fighting off more enemies before eventually making it to where they're kept. After cutting them loose, we hand Zoe the two ingredients, where she then pulls off her own magical skills, and makes 2 doses of the serum, complete with injectable needles, out of thin air. Once you grab them, a heavily mutated, molded version of Jack will then appear outside the window before crashing into the room and pulling you out, instigating another fight. Just like the last couple of fights, the first thing I do is run around the arena, scavenging any ammo or supplies that might be around. Surprisingly, there is a high number of handgun ammo, which means this fight should be a breeze. In order to deal damage to Jack, you need to shoot out all of his eyes on his body, with some being easy and some being hard to hit. Also, despite being on easy, Jack does a surprising amount of damage, mostly being able to kill me in just 2 hits. Thankfully, I am able to get away from him after each hit in order to heal before he's able to land a killing blow. Jack has around a dozen eyes, and each one doesn't take too many shots in order to bust. I actually end up breaking all of them before running out of ammo, which is a nice surprise. After that, he retreats into the ground and it looks like I'm safe. But out of nowhere, he jumps out of the ground, pulling me down to his level and attacking me head on. I still have some strong ammo, so I end up using that on his face before he finally goes down. Zoe then opens the door and ushers me out, but not before Jack pulls another one of his shenanigans and grabs me again. Zoe screams at me to use one of the serums on him, and that seems to finish him off for good. After meeting up with Zoe and Mia, it's revealed we only have a serum for one of them and not both, so we're forced to decide between the two. I choose Mia because before this point I didn't even know what Zoe looked like. I did make this entire trip to save my wife and not just some random woman. After escaping into the swamp, we come across a giant wrecked cargo ship in the middle of it before a giant molded tentacle brings down our boat. After waking up on the shore, we can see that we're now Mia instead of Ethan. Exploring around a bit, we do find Ethan's unconscious body, but just moments before it's engulfed by mold and dragged away from us. Making our way into the ship in search of Ethan, we find that Mia might have something to do with everything that's been going on. We also find out who's the one behind a lot of this, and that is a little girl named Evelyn. Then as Mia, we come across a pretty big issue. There's molded that we need to kill, but we don't have a weapon. Not only that, when we do find a weapon, we barely have enough ammo to finish them off. After using a fuse to go upstairs, Evelyn forces us to watch a video to help us remember what happened previously. This is where it's revealed Mia and another guy were tasked with transporting Evelyn, who is a bioweapon, in control of these molded creatures. We're also shown that Evelyn can control the people she has affected as well. For this section of the game, we get a machine gun and a survival knife, one of which we obviously can't use. So for this section, we're going knife only. Getting into the elevator, we come across our first enemy, and manage to take it down before it realizes what's going on. It doesn't seem to like its new predicament, and the moment the elevator starts to go down, it ascends into the great heavens above. Now on the bottom floor, there's a couple enemies we have to fight through before finally finding Evelyn. After finding her, she runs off and creates more molded for us to fight. While pretty difficult, kiting them back and taking care of them one at a time makes them more manageable. Going back up to the floor we were just on, and there's even more enemies we gotta deal with. Once done, we go up another floor where we find our friend in a much worse condition. He then finds out what happens when you call a Karen a bitch before immediately imploding. After that, Evelyn then infects us, and it's at this point we make the video email that is sent to Ethan in the beginning of the game. After finishing the video, we are transported back to the present, where we have to find a way to save Ethan, and we do so by fixing the elevator. In order to fix the elevator, we need both a fuse, that we used a little while ago, and a cable, which is behind a door that is locked. After finding our way around the area and taking out a few more enemies, we managed to get the fuse off the first floor, and some acid to help us with the locked door on the top floor. There is another bloated molded that I need to deal with before I'm able to get the cable, but with some careful movement and some more strong ammo, I'm able to make it through alive. After fixing the elevator, I make my way down to the bottom floor, where there's a couple more enemies and another bloated molded. I then find Ethan encased in mold and Evelyn blocking him. We then have a vision as Ethan, where Jack tells him that his family was influenced by Evelyn and they're not murderers. Jack then requests that we just set his family free. Back as Ethan in the present, Mia pulls us out of the mold before shoving us outside as Evelyn tries to take control of her again, but not before giving us a tissue sample. Not even going to touch the fact that she somehow had that on her for the past 3 years without losing it. We make our way off the ship before finding a mining office where we're able to get our stuff back. I'm also able to use the antique coins I found up until this point to finally get the Magnum. I only planned on using it for the final boss, but it's still good to have on hand. We also hear over the radio that the military is closing in on our location, sending help. Not sure who called them, but whatever. Since we also got Mia's gear, once again graciously given to us by the Void, we take the survival knife instead of the pocket knife since it seems to do a bit more damage. Leaving the office building, there's a bunch of molded protecting the lift down to the salt mines, which is where we need to go next. After taking them out, I make my way down. For whatever reason, there's a bunch of traps down here, and just for the fun of it, I lead some molded into them and watch them blow up. Pushing further into the mines, and there's a lot more enemies that we need to deal with. Not too bad, but a good indent into our ammo supply. Not much further into the mines, and we find this lab with a briefcase that makes our watch beep when we get close to it. After putting in the tissue sample, it spits out a necrotoxin which we can use to finally kill Evelyn. With this, we can finally escape the salt mines. Evelyn seems to know of our intent to kill her, and she summons wave after wave of molded for us to deal with. I still have a good amount of ammo, and the game is consistently giving me more, so this part is not too bad. I just need to be careful to not take damage and really watch my aim. After making our way through a couple of waves of normal molded, we are presented with a large open area with not one, but 2 bloated moldeds. I was a little worried about taking them on since there were 2 of them, but the game wasn't about to throw me a bone either because every crate I broke before and during this bit had only burner ammo. So what ammo I had I needed to conserve, and it's terrifying trying to fight these guys from behind cover when one of them just straight up walks up and over it. The only saving grace with this section is the fact that I have a bunch of enhanced ammo. I also ended up just kiting them around this tower, which helped a lot with getting damage in on them. After they're dealt with, I make my way up the ladder and break down a false wall. This wall then leads into the basement of the guest house from the beginning of the game. We're then shown some flashbacks of how Evelyn controlled Mia in the beginning while also being tormented by her clone. After progressing through the house, we make our way up to the attic and can finally fight Evelyn. She then tries to push us away with some magical wind, but we eventually make it up to her and inject her with the necrotoxin. She then reveals herself to be the old lady that's around the Baker house throughout the game. I think there's something about her aging incredibly quickly after not being on her traditional medicine, but regardless, she's now a mutated giant face with black tentacles, so I guess it doesn't really matter. We make quick work of her with the magnum and get thrown out of the house. She then emerges from the house and continues to attack us, going as far as stabbing us in the leg and holding us upside down while she wails on us. After we get dropped, a random gun is dropped beside us and a voice from our watch tells us to use it. We do and finally kill Evelyn, ending the game and completing the challenge. So I guess the answer to the question is yes, you can beat Resident Evil 7 with only the pistol. Granted, there were multiple times where I ran out of ammo and had to use my knife, but that was because of the kill everything aspect of this challenge. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.